Kalispera Cyprus, Kalispera Angus in Manchester, and Kalispera Jonathan in Leeds. I am William in London, and we are kicking off this Wiwi jury with a shout out to Sandro. He is singing the song Running in our imaginary Eurovision 2020. We are so glad to have him here. Shall we listen to the song and review it? Let's do this. I don't feel like talking. Let me sit here alone. The phone's calling. I can't pick it up. These are the words of Running. Sandro told us in an interview in Stockholm with Wiwi blogger Tobias that this song is it's him at his most naked, exposing his vulnerability, remembering a time he suffered from anxiety and depression. At that time he was running. In this song, he is also running. You really get that dark vibe. He's really tried to expose himself, and I think he's done a good job conveying a wound. The moment you hear this, you know dude has had a struggle, and he's running to get away from it. I think the production is very nice. It feels very modern, very 2020. I think for me, after the first minute, it starts to not disappoint, but it doesn't evolve as much as I'd like it to. I think the first minute's really great. It's building to something, but then there's sort of a drop. And in that drop, I'm somewhat lost. But then by the bridge, when he, mixes it up again, I'm back with him. Long story short, I think this is a good effort. I think that, with a bit more time, he could have made something perhaps a bit more high impact. But yeah, this was a great first effort. And I'm hoping we'll see him in the future, whether that's next year or some other year, because I think he's got a lot to offer. Angus.
So I have to be honest, I do think one of the main problems with Cyprus this year is it really suffers from comparison to the past 2 years. I think, Eleni kind of blew everyone out of the water with the live performance, and then Tamta, expectations for her were also very high, but I think the studio cut met it. So I think that hurt it overall in terms of the demo reaction. For me personally, I think disappointing is the word. I think Sandro, he has a great voice. I mean, we've seen the video live from the Melody Festival Club and party in Stockholm. He can sing all the high notes and do it live. He's got a wonderful voice. I think like a lot of acts this year, I kind of just wish he was singing something else, because Running, I think, it is just a bit kind of dark and depressing, because it's kind of a pop song and a dance song, but at the same time it's quite dark and moody. And it almost kind of grates a little bit, I would say. It sort of puts me in mind of Darude and Sebastian Raymond's song from last year, which obviously didn't do that great. And yeah, I just find it quite disappointing. It's not, as the case has been in previous years, a song from Cyprus that I really want to replay. It's nice enough in the background. It's not outright offensive, but at the same time, it doesn't inspire me in the same way as others have. And just, yeah, I don't know. I sort of wish he had more energy. It almost is kind of awkwardly mid-tempo. It doesn't fully break into being a dance stormer like a Replay or a Fuego, but it's also not happy being kind of a downbeat man rocky anthem. So yeah, I think if he is to come back next year, and hopefully he will do, he can do it with a slightly better song, because for me this isn't one of the best this year.
Drowning out my memories from the night before, doors knocking, just leave me alone, Jonathan.
I think this sort of came out left field a bit. From a lot of the sort of preview interviews that he was giving, people were expecting some sort of Shawn Mendes vibe. The stuff that he did at the Romanian national selection as well was very different to this as well. So I think when this was released, it took a lot of people by surprise, which is maybe where a lot of the query and people starting to wonder where this came from with the initial reaction sort of came from. I do enjoy it. It's not one that I have instantly want to put on repeat all the time. I think, there's nothing like this else in the competition this year. It would sort of stand out to an extent. I think it suffers a bit from relying too much on instrumentals, and we have seen over recent years that long instrumental gaps in songs can be a bit of a detriment because you have to fill the space on the stage and the time on screen doing something when Sandro wouldn't be singing, and there's a lot of just sections where he's humming. I think with creative staging, with sort of some moody lighting and some visual elements, there was a chance that this could have, you know, popped on stage. It was a risk. I think Cyprus definitely took a risk. It would have been interesting to see how that paid off. But yeah, it's sort of middling for me. It's not, I don't hate it by any means. I will happily listen to it, but it's not one that I instantly want to press play on.
Yeah, you bring up some very good points. The first is the staging. I think the music video gave us a clue to the kind of dark, brooding, not horror show, but very dark staging they might have gone for in, where will we go, at Rotterdam. It had its own personality. It was scary. It took me to Stranger Things, to the other side. I was inside the intestines of a beast, and he was kind of in there navigating us through those intestines, and hopefully out the hole at the other end, because I think ultimately there is a, that sounds gross, ultimately there is light here. There is a journey, you know, he's overcoming these demons. So that's always good, because we know Cyprus does invest in staging, and like in recent years, they've had really eye-catching performances, and so I was hopeful they would have that again. I believe they were working with Martin from Austria, the famous stage director who did lots of other iconic acts. There was a lot leaning positive. The disappointment, I think, may come from the fact that Sandro's a very versatile artist. I mean, Ed Keith and I were at his recording session when he was experimenting with songs, and we heard different songs, and he can do all sorts. While I care about this song and am very much invested in how it would have been, I think for me what excites me is that this song is a gateway to Sandro, because I know what a versatile artist he is, top, bottom, he can do it all, like dance, slow, ballad, and so I think that it should be viewed as a window into his range, really. He can do dark and mysterious as well. In any case, shall we go around and give our scores out of 10 along with a justification, starting with Angus?
It's a 4.5 out of 10 for me. I just find this to be quite middling. I think he can do a lot better as an artist, and Cyprus can do a lot better in finding him a song that will really kind of stand out for the better and kind of have more going for it sonically. So it's a 4.5 for me.
I gave this a 6. I think it's not a dead cert qualifier, particularly compared to their Cyprus's previous entries. They would have had to have put a lot into the staging to help this, but it is a very well crafted song. I do enjoy it. It's just faded into the background a bit for me.
In the music video, his silhouette illuminates with fire, passion, drama. These are 3 words that could describe Sandro himself. I have met you in person. Let me tell you, he is fire. He is fuego. And by that, I mean a warmth. We were at a train station in Godalming, and there was this teenager sitting all by herself, and she was upset because her phone was dying and she needed to call somebody. He instantly pulled out a charger, gave it to her. It wouldn't work. He was like, OMG. He pulls out his laptop, gives it to her, says, plug it into here. He is such a nice, warm person. Like 10 minutes later, he was still talking to this young woman. I was like, Sandro, we got to go. We got to go do this interview. But he's just so giving of his time. He's so kind, and I really hope to see him back in the Eurovision sphere. As for this song, my score is based more on potential than actually what we have. While I like the first minute and I like the bridge, the rest of the song was slightly underwhelming for me, but it still showcased his vocals, so he gets a stellar 7. Now, we of course are not the only Wiwibloggs. There are dozens of them all over the world, and they too have cast their scores out of 10, and when we average it all together, the global average is 5.9. Okay, so this is average at best according to that score. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because the only way to look is forward and to the future. And I am confident we will see Sandro at some point, whether that's on telly, on Spotify with new songs slaying, maybe at Eurovision, who knows. He is amazing. In any case, that's what we think. What do you think? What is your score for Sandro's Running? Are you running to Spotify to listen to this? Let us know here on Wiwibloggs.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, in the comments let us know what you think about Sandro and his song Running, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another video from Wiwibloggs.
Follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course check out the website as well, where the Wiwi jury reviews actually come out first.
And we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.